Hello, I'm Locke Meredith. I'd like to invite you to join me on the next Legal Lines, where my guest is Sheriff Sid Gautreaux. The sheriff is for the entire East Baton Rouge Parish and occasionally will help in the city of Baton Rouge, but primarily his jurisdiction is outside the city limits. He's going to talk to us about his stint beginning from a prison guard to being the chief of the Baker Police Department for 27 years and 12 years currently as sheriff, almost 40 years plus. Join us on the next Legal Lines with Sheriff Sid Gautreaux. Legal Lines has interviewed Louisiana Supreme Court justices, appellate trial court judges, federal, state, and local government leaders, including U.S. senators and Congress members. Watch at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates website, LockeMeredith.com, or Cox Channel 1004.
At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, it's an honor and a privilege if you choose us to serve you.
We serve you with respect, dedication, and an unwavering commitment.
We serve you by working hard and striving to get you the best possible results.
We serve you using 60 plus years of legal knowledge, experience, and relationships.
At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we believe that life is about relationships, and it's the mission and ministry of all of us to serve you. Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has served our community by airing Legal Lines, a community educational program for 18 years weekly to Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas. Watch Legal Lines at LockeMeredith.com or Cox Channel 1004. Hello, welcome to Legal Lines. I'm Locke Meredith. I'm pleased to have back on the show, maybe the fifth time, Sheriff Sid Gautreaux. He's the sheriff of the entire parish of East Baton Rouge. Sid, it's fantastic.
Thank you.
To
Thank you
have
very
you
much.
back. And
Always glad to be here.
can't believe it, but you're in another election. There's four
right.
for your fourth term, as I understand.
That's right.
So, kind of recap quickly, because it really is remarkable to know your history in law enforcement. I mean, you've been doing this well over 40 years.
Well, 42 years. Yeah, I started my career back in 1976 with the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office. I worked in the prison for a year, and I was a sergeant in uniform patrol when I resigned in 1980 to run for chief of police in Baker. And I did 7 terms there. I was
27 years.
27 years. I was
Good
chief
gosh.
of police in Baker from 1980 to 2007, and then of course I ran for Sheriff Litchfield's unexpired term and for the new term. And we've been sheriff since the end of 2007.
So how old were you when you were elected police chief of Baker?
I was 29 years old.
Unbelievable.
And at that particular time, I was the youngest elected police chief in the state of Louisiana.
Well, I believe
But they've
it.
been
So
some
27
youngest.
plus, what are you, almost 12 years now?
Yeah.
So
going on
you're
12.
right at
Yeah.
30 years. No,
Yeah.
40 years.
40,
What am I saying?
42.
42 years, good God.
Yeah.
Clearly you know what you're doing. So kind of tell the folks what you've learned just in the kind of the big overriding principles and issues that you've faced as a chief for 42 years.
Well, being chief of police in the city of Baker really got me ready to be
Big time,
sheriff.
bigger time
Yeah.
anyway?
Right. That was really a learning process for me, and it really, the lessons I learned there, because the problems, I don't care what size department you have, the problems are the same everywhere, whether you're in the city, whether you're in the parish, whatever. Problems are the same anywhere. Dealing with people is the same. So, you know, I've always been a people person, and I think that's one of my most successful traits is being a people person. I look at this profession as a true calling.
Mm-hmm.
I think God put me here for this exact reason.
I agree.
And, you know,
It's a sacrifice.
it is, and you know, every young person that I hire, I said, I hope you're here for the right reason, and the only reason to be in this business is to serve.
Well, frankly,
that's all we do.
You look at how low the pay is,
That's
how
right.
dangerous the work is, and how, for sad reasons, you know, our communities in America just don't seem to respect law enforcement anymore, at least the way we used to.
Not the way we used to, and you're exactly right. And you know, being that you brought that up, I can tell you that trying to recruit now is a very difficult job. We do everything we can to recruit young people, qualified young people to get into this profession. We recruit at the universities here locally. You have Baton Rouge Community College, Southern and Southeastern that all have criminal justice programs, and then of course you can reach out to other colleges as well in Louisiana. But It's interesting, Locke. I read in a magazine. It was a magazine of a National Association of County Managers, which is like our police jurors here.
Right.
And they did a survey, and they said from 2014 to 2017, applications for law enforcement were down 63% across the nation.
God.
And we feel that. We feel
Good
that.
Lord. And so it better be a calling.
Yeah, it has to be, you know, and you know, those that have true servant hearts and true servant mentalities do well in this profession. If you don't have that, you need to do something else.
Well, you've talked about serving. You've also been chosen for leadership roles, not just in law enforcement, but in many associations, whether they're law enforcement or otherwise. Tell folks briefly about that.
Well, and this is just something that...
Because to me, it shows respect for you.
Well, I'm proud of this personally, but I graduated from LSU Basic Training School at LSU. I was elected class president there. I graduated from the Law Enforcement Institute at LSU, and I was elected class president there. But two of the other things, and I'm the only person that's ever done this, I served as president of the Louisiana Association of Chiefs of Police, and I've served as president of the Louisiana Sheriff's Association, elected in both. And that really means a lot to me. And, you know, I'm on numerous boards and commissions. I'm the chairman of the Commission on Law Enforcement for the state. And, you know, all of those things, and I'm not going to bore you with all the other stuff, but after 42 years, you know, you go through a lot. But that means so much to me. And I guess two of the awards that I've won that mean the most to me is one, I was being inducted into the Louisiana Criminal Justice Hall of Fame. That meant a lot to me. And then also equally being presented the Brotherhood Sisterhood Award here in East Baton Rouge Parish. That meant a lot to me as well. Well,
you kind of alluded to it a couple of times. Let's talk about, you have now served during probably the most tumultuous time in the history of our state, much less our city. We've endured Katrina, we had the Alton Sterling killing, we had the murders, 6 officers shot, 1 deputy killed, and 2 Baton Rouge City policemen killed. And Mr. Touye is still suffering and will the rest of his life from his injuries.
Right. That's right.
You've endured so many other things, even the 2016 flood.
That's right.
Tell folks what you've learned through all that.
Well, first let me say this. I would like to ask people to continue to pray for Nick Touye. He's still in Houston. He's still fighting every day. But by the grace of God, he's still alive. And I just ask for your continued prayers for him and his family. Mm-hmm. But, you know, you learn lessons from everything that happens to you in life. And I've learned lessons from all of these things. I've learned, number one, from a law enforcement perspective, how to better serve the community, how to be better prepared for those kind of emergencies and disasters. But it teaches me more about people. And I could not be more proud of the people of Baton Rouge, how they responded to all of those.
That flood
things.
was something.
The flood was really something. I mean, it was like a baptism that just, you know. And
talk about community pulling
together. That's right.
Together.
It was a whole community, black, white, Hispanic. Everybody was.
It shows
together.
us what we can be.
That's right, and what we should be. And you know, I was really proud to have been able to serve during that time, even though it was hit me as hard as anything's ever hit me with the shootings and with the flood and all, and seeing everybody lose everything they had. But I was proud to be able to serve during that time.
It's fascinating too, because you were, you know, up in front of the big boy cameras where, you know, you got the national media and all that, because these were national tragedies.
That's right.
At least the shootings and murder.
That's right.
It's just sad as all circumstances. And I got to tell you, and I think I privately told you this already, but I mean, I was very proud that you were the sheriff of East Baton Rouge Parish, because you handled yourself professionally, genuinely, authentically, and honestly. And sometimes, you know, in our folks that are in front of mics these days, that doesn't seem to be the case.
Well, thank you.
Just again, thank you, and Colonel Mike Edmondson, and the rest of the folks, the chief of Baton Rouge City Police, Just, it was a remarkable time. We'll continue this on the next segment. This is Locke Meredith with Legal Lines. My guest, Sid Gautreaux, the Sheriff of East Baton Rouge Parish. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Collins Meredith. I'm one of the attorneys here at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. One of the many distinguishing factors of our firm is that we are not just one lawyer that you are hiring. We are a team of attorneys. When you hire one of us, we all pull from each other's experiences, knowledge of the law, so that we get you not only a solution to your problems, but the best solution that we can come up with for your problems. So for that reason and many others, I hope that you hire our firm.
Hi, my name is Mitchell Meredith. I'm one of the associate attorneys here at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. One of the reasons I love this firm is that the moment you walk through the doors, you're so much more than business. You're family, which means we're going to fight for you as if you're family. At the end of the day, I think what distinguishes our firm from others is we're a firm that is truly personal, professional, and proven.
Welcome back to Legal Lines. I'm Locke Meredith. Pleased to have back on the show, probably for the 5th or 6th time, Sheriff Sid Gautreaux. He's the Sheriff of East Baton Rouge Parish. Let's dive back in. You know, as Sheriff, I think everybody thinks all you focus on is law enforcement, and there's many other hats. Explain quickly to the folks kind of the various roles that you have, responsibilities that you have as Sheriff.
Well, as Sheriff, all the sheriffs in Louisiana, we're the chief law enforcement officer for each parish. And we wear 3 hats. I've got the criminal office, I've got the civil office, and then I have corrections. So there's 3 major sections there. We employ right now about 835 individuals, but we want to get that up to a little over 900, and we just need to find those people. You know, we have a budget of around $95 to $98 million a year. I wish it was not 95.
Almost 100 million.
Almost 100 million, yeah. And we don't get a penny from sales tax. All of our money comes from property tax, from the fees that we get. And you know, I'm just a tax collector. I don't set your taxes, but from the taxes we collect, we have to disperse those taxes to some 32 different taxing authorities.
Sid, you've mentioned too in the past that when property values go down, like they did after the flood or other traumatic hurricanes or such, where it causes extensive property damage, you lose money to operate the entire sheriff's department.
It hit us to the tune of about $5 million, the flood did, like it hit everybody else, whether you're just a homeowner, a business owner, whatever. But we've been able to rebound from that, and you know, we had to really tighten our belts up and do without a lot of things for a couple of years, but we're getting back on the right track, and it's going to help. But you know, Locke, when you look at everything involved with those 3 things, and I say this truly, I mean this, when I hire people, it matters not where they work in East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office. They're all equally important to me as sheriff, because we have to run all 3 of those things, those 3 entities to make the sheriff's office click. But it has
a lot of
been
big hats to wear, though.
Yeah, it is. But I've got some wonderful people. I can tell you that right now. I wouldn't be sitting where I'm sitting. We wouldn't have the department. And thank you for giving me all those accolades, and I appreciate that. But I wouldn't be able to do what I do without the people. You know,
I agree with that.
The men and women in the sheriff's office. We've got some great men and women in the sheriff's office.
It's a calling. It's selfless in so many ways.
That's right.
You know, during this period of time too, a lot of really great things have happened under your leadership. I know, for example, just moving into the big old headquarters now, that before you were out by the airport, and now you're located centrally in the city, and you've got better accommodations.
Well, you know, being an election, we're in the middle of an election. Of course, we looked back some 12 years ago and said, you know, what were the goals that we set? I've never made promises, because, you know,
can't guarantee that.
You can never guarantee a promise, and there's too many other factions involved and entities involved. So we made goals, but we've kept what we said, we've done what we said, and we met those goals, plus we exceeded those goals. But I could tell you a few of the things that we've done, and I brought a list because I'm...
Please.
But one of the things, we created a homicide division. We didn't have one when I took office. We created a sex offender division, bike patrol, K9, CIU, which is Criminal Intelligence Unit, and community policing divisions. We started initiatives to decrease crime, such as increased holiday patrols, warrant roundups, and of course we're involved in truce, which you've had Hiller on here before. You know what that is.
In the Brave program,
right?
And all that, yeah.
And we've added substations. I mean, we've added a substation in Zachary, in Pride Port Hudson area, up in the Plains, Cheneyville area, up in there. We've added one on O'Neill Lane, and we also have another one that we added in the Gardere area.
And that enables you to get there quicker.
That's
bottom
right.
line.
That's right. We have them spread out: 2 in the north, 2 in the center, and 2 in the south.
Strategically.
And it allows us to spread out more. We've increased coverage in the parish because we increased our uniform patrol deputies on the streets by 12%. We've increased detectives by 30%. And of course,
that's a big deal.
That was a very big deal. And we do so much community outreach and education. You've heard me say this on previous shows. I look at law enforcement as a twofold process. One, you have to enforce laws, and you have to be out there to protect people and their property, and you have to do the enforcement side of it. But you have to do an equal amount of community outreach, because we have got to work together.
We've talked about
law enforcement and
eyes and ears of you
communities have
guys.
got to work together. We've got to have meaningful relationships. We've got to have meaningful conversations. They've got to know us. We have to know them in order to better serve them. And I think the late Ronnie Edwards said it best: any efforts on law enforcement are short-lived without community involvement. And that was a great statement, because that's exactly right.
And I know the mayor, Sharon Broom, is really put a
Yeah.
big push on it, encourage that type of community communication.
That's right. And that's one thing I'm proud of. Whenever I run a poll for me to see what my favorability is in the public, I do the same thing with my department. And it always pretty much runs neck and neck. So I know that I've conveyed that to my employees, and they have that same mindset, and that's how we serve the public.
Well, let's face it, when the public votes for you, they're voting for the entire sheriff's department.
That's right.
Based on the job that they're doing.
That's right. That's
All
right.
right. The other things we've talked about over a long period of time is that, and you talked about this, you needed more manpower, you needed them better trained, and you needed them better equipped. And then finally, you needed top-notch technology to help go out there and protect us. And then if a crime occurs, to catch the criminal, get the evidence, so they can put him away or her away.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And being part of the VCU, the Violent Crime Unit that we formed at the State Police, it is very important. But our technology, we switched our radios, which we did that when we first took office, to the 800 megahertz, which allows us better communication and better interoperability throughout the state with all of our counterparts. We increased rehabilitation programs at the parish prison. There was one when we came in, and we got 20 now. Of course, we're doing that to reduce recidivism, and we created a GED wing and also a faith-based wing. And Locke, if I may touch on that just a minute with the prison. My philosophy, and so is in thought process, and same thing with my warden. I don't care if we have somebody incarcerated for 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year. We're going to provide them with as much rehabilitation as we possibly can. Doesn't mean we can't make them take advantage of it, but we've got to do something
Give them an
different.
opportunity.
And there's 3 things, well now 4 things that really stick out with the people that are in prison. Majority of them are addicted to drug, alcohol, or both. Their educational level is low. They've come from economically depressed backgrounds, and now we got mental health.
All right, we'll continue this on the next segment. This is Locke Meredith, Legal Lines. My guest, Sheriff Sid Gautreaux of East Baton Rouge Parish. We'll be right back. Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has served our community by airing Legal Lines, a community educational program for 18 years weekly to Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas. Watch Legal Lines at LockeMeredith.com or Cox Channel 1004.
Hello, my name is Sean Fagan. And you know, one of the most important considerations in hiring an attorney is considering trust. I believe at our firm, our results speak for themselves. Most of the people we represent come from past clients who have referred friends, family members, other people they love to us to represent them in the same way we represented the persons who referred them. It's the greatest compliment any law firm could get. And I believe that if you come to our firm, we'll earn your trust.
Legal Lines has interviewed Louisiana Supreme Court justices, appellate trial court judges, federal, state, and local government leaders, including U.S. senators and Congress members. Watch at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates website, LockeMeredith.com or Cox Channel 1004. Welcome back to Legal Lines. I'm Locke Meredith. Pleased to again have on the show Sheriff Sid Gautreaux. He is the sheriff for East Baton Rouge Parish. Sid, we were talking about how recidivism rate, meaning folks who've been in prison tend to go back to prison pretty quick within, I think it's 3 to 5 years, 70 to 90% depending on where you are. So it's a big deal. And you were talking about the kind of programs that you've implemented that you hope will reduce that recidivism rate.
That's right.
Kind of recap it real quick again.
Well, we've given them...
Because that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. We've given them things to help them with anger management, with child development, with everything. I mean, it's just, I could go on and on. We could do a whole
Teaching
show
life
about
skills
that.
in so many ways.
Teaching them life skills. We started a faith-based wing, which we didn't have, and it's all denominations. People come in there, volunteer their services every day. We started a GED wing because the lack of education is a big deal, and we wanted to put those prisoners in environments that's more conducive with them getting their education. And we've graduated hundreds with our GED program.
That's good news.
Yeah,
Great
but we can't do, you know, it's just like early release and all. And I talked with the Governor Edwards about it. You know, I'm good with it, but we can't just let those people out and not give them, continue to monitor them, continue to give them help and what they need to keep themselves out, to better themselves and move forward.
What do you think about the judicial reform package that was pushed through the state Senate in the last couple of years? Does it seem to be bearing fruit?
I think it's really too early yet. It's being monitored by everybody. The Sheriff's Association is monitored. The Chiefs
Are y'all getting
Association
any money
monitored.
to implement the programs like you're talking about?
Yeah, we're going to get some money here
Okay.
in Louisiana. in Baton Rouge, and we hadn't got it yet, but it's coming. In fact, they probably want to do a center here in Baton Rouge. What the governor's telling me. So
That's
if they
great
do,
news.
yeah, it will be good news for us. So, but we hadn't seen that yet. But it you know, the wheels of government move slow. So, but I think we'll get it. But everybody's monitoring, the DA's Association, the state's monitoring these people that's being released, the individuals being released to see what's going on in their lives. And so I'm hopeful that in the end, if we do everything we say we're going to do, that we'll see the results we want.
Okay, let's kind of shift gears a little bit. Most people probably don't really know that the areas that are your primary responsibility of protecting and protecting the safety of the public is not within the city limits of Baton Rouge. It's the rest of the parish that's
right.
not within the city limits of Baton Rouge.
That's right.
And now look at the quantity of land that we're talking about. It's just significantly more, I guess, square miles that you got to deal with.
That's right.
And a large, what's the population of the area that you're having to monitor?
Well, I think that total population of East Baton Rouge Parish is somewhere around 420,000, 430,000 people. We actually police almost half of that.
And you have fewer deputies, right?
We have fewer deputies, yes.
Fewer cars and...
Right. But we go into this, if you know, we serve everybody and everybody pays into the sheriff's office. So
Right.
if we get a call from a citizen inside the city of Baton Rouge that wants the sheriff's office, we're coming. The same way everywhere else. But we've been very very well pleased with the response that we've getting from the public in regards to that. But you know, and I could go on and on and on about the other things that we've done, but we don't have enough time on this show to go into it with all the technology and everything that we've done and some of the other resources we've gotten.
Well, let's shift gears a little bit. I've been reading in the paper or whatever I read here these days, and usually on the web. And so I'm seeing a lot of commentary about the proposed city of St. George, and one of the issues that apparently is being bounced around is whether or not you would be still providing the same level of services that you are to the parish. What's the answer?
Well, as sheriff, I've stayed out of that.
I know. I'm not trying to get you in the
Oh,
mess.
I know,
I just
I know.
want to know whether you're still
No.
providing.
No, and we are.
Services.
We are, but my position on it is this: as sheriff of East Baton Rouge Parish, I'm elected by everybody to serve everybody and provide those services to everybody within the parish, and I take that very seriously. But I don't have a horse in this race.
Right.
You know, if the people that live within the proposed city limits of St. George vote to have them a city, then I will certainly do everything as sheriff to help them from a law enforcement perspective to make that happen. If they don't, it's business as usual because we're there already.
Right.
We're
Okay.
there already.
Makes sense. And that's what I thought, but want to hear it from you. You're the one who knows.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears then a little bit. Let's talk about crime, okay? Because I get the stats every, I don't know, a couple of weeks on the Advocate. You see something and you do a
That's
search
right.
on the net, and
That's right.
and sadly, we still seem to be among the highest crime rate cities for our size city in the nation. You know, up there with the crime rates when you talk about per capita, how many folks are in the area of New York and Chicago and DC and other places.
That's right.
So, given the fact that your jurisdiction does not include the city limits of Baton Rouge, I assume your rates and stats differ when you look at just where you patrol.
They do, but as sheriff, I have to be concerned of crime no matter where it occurs in
Of
this
course.
parish, because I don't care where crime occurs, it affects the quality of life for all of us no matter where we live. But since we've been in office, and this is just the statistics for the primary areas that we're focused
Everything
on.
outside of the city limits,
Everything
right?
outside of city limits of Baton Rouge. We've reduced violent crime against persons by 41% over the last 10 years. We reduced homicides by 45%. We've reduced property crime by 24%. You know, and from our perspective, we've been able to get those figures lower. And I'm very proud of the effort from our men and women. But it goes back to what I said earlier too, Locke. We get a tremendous amount of cooperation from the public, and that's what helps. I mean, if we weren't working together, those figures wouldn't be what they are.
It's teamwork. It
That's right,
requires
it's
both
teamwork.
sides
It's
of that.
teamwork. That's right.
Of that coin, so to speak, to have
right.
public safety, you need the public's involvement.
That's right.
Just how many guys and gals you got on the beat right now, so to speak, patrolling?
Well, I don't know, you know, there's always somebody off or somebody sick or whatever, but we generally have between the six substations. I don't know, I have it right on the top of my head, but probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 40 deputies.
And I know you've always told me, it seems like in every show, that you need more manpower. You're trying to get it. It's more difficult these days because of the last traumas that we've already
That's right.
discussed. And we've talked about it too. People who live here are leaving because of two things. It's either bad public schools and or the perception that crime is dangerous. It's dangerous to live
That's
here.
right.
And if we don't fix this,
We got to. We have to. And you know, you're so right. I mean, anybody that comes here to East Baton Rouge Parish that's moving here to raise a family and moving here to start a business, there's three things that they're going to look at. And depending on their perspective, that they can change in that order. But it's public safety, it's education, and it's infrastructure.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Sid, thank you very much.
Thank
It's
you,
been
Locke.
wonderful to have
Thank
you
you.
back on. The election is October 12th. Early voting, I think, is September 28th through October 5th.
And we want to stress early voting because LSU's playing at home against Florida.
Go LSU!
Yeah. And,
all right, this is Locke Meredith with
Southern's
Legal
playing.
Lines. My special guest, Sheriff Sid Gautreaux. Thank you for being with us.